What's popular, YouTube? Another day, another demo. And today we are watching the MVP of the Blast Fall Groups play here on Dust 2.
Oh, times it nicely done. Dupree gets 2 players off of this. 8 seconds left, point blank, off fight. Oh, m0NESY.
We're on.
Yes, we are. A little bit of clutch sprinkled in for an attempt at G2's first round win. No! Apex tries to jump across. It's him versus Spinks. A kit on the CT side, but a white hot on m0NESY.
Like thunder. One of the biggest Dust 2 demons right now, m0NESY. He farmed Vitality 10-5 half on the CT side of Dust 2, and this game I watched a lot of games in preparation for this because it was particularly interesting because of Alexi calling recently on Dust 2. They only played 2 Dust 2 matches with h0TV. So I watched some of the Alexi games, and then I watched some of the h0TV matches, and it's Dust 2, so there's going to be some general stuff that I talk about in minimap segments, and also I think for this one, I also talk about this a little bit during the game, but I want you to passively look for when he has long spawns and the different nades he throws on different long spawns, okay? These are going to be relevant to your games and anytime we're watching pro players play, because Dust 2, if anything, even though it's a very simplified map, comes down a lot to your spawn positions, what duels you can take, and what nades you throw based on those duels. And this stuff is not only G2 related, okay? You know, third spawn long is flashing, second is mauling, first is peeking, whatever it is. We're going to see m0NESY have a few different positions. We're going to watch for that. And also, this one will also be about controlling mid. And yeah, outside of that, it's a little frag movie. So I hope you enjoy it. This m0NESY, the MVP of the Blast Fall Groups, his first MVP. Let me know in the comments if you clicked. Did you click? You click? Any clickers? Clicky? Sorry, that was a dog in me. We're here watching m0NESY play Dust 2. The Blast MVP, his first MVP. You know, James came in the green room after, and he's like, I did the interview with m0NESY, and m0NESY was like, James, you did my first interview when I got signed for Navi Jr., and then when I got to the LAN, my first LAN interview, and then my first interview at the Major, and now my first interview is MVP. Adorable. That wasn't on stream, but adorable. m0NESY 16 still, and getting really, really, really good, right? m0NESY is, he's like top 15 this year. Vu had a tweet where he was like, would you replace, well, okay, this is the story actually. Every Vu tweet has a story. What actually happened was that he was on a podcast, and then on the podcast, I was in chat, and the podcast, he's like, what if they got device back from m0NESY? And I said, Vu, what are you chiefing on, sir? Because that would be replacing a player who's top 15 with an opper who's not even active. Why on earth would you do that? So I said, Vu, tweet that. So he tweeted it. Well, he actually took the safe route and he tweeted, would you replace device with, he says m0NESY, because he can't even say the kid's, can't even say the goat's name right, man. Trash. What is that about? 2022 and people are still saying m0NESY. I know it's hard, actually. I've had some difficulty myself. m0NESY, right? You guys remember the video. It's not m0NESY, it's not m0NESY, it's not m0NESY, it's m0NESY. Fuck. The best way that I remembered to say it, m0NESY. Can't mess it up once you get that. m0NESY. Then it's done. Any tier 3s in the chat? Okay. So looking at some of m0NESY's games before h0TV, actually, I think this is the second Dust 2 match with h0TV. And I watched some of the matches that he played Dust 2 with Alexi. And I think the one thing I've been looking for with m0NESY, because is the aggression. The opening kill attempts on CT side which haven't changed statistically, still around the same amount, around 20%, which is where most pro players sit on their CT side, around 20%, taking a fifth of the pie on opening duels. Who would have guessed? And then some players go above, and even some elite players go above. Nico goes up, Simple goes up, Zygote. So, but you don't have to have a high opening kill percentage attempt rate. Was that too many words? To be doing a good job, right? You can have Brokey, who has a very, actually piss poor opening kill attempt rate. m0NESY, who's kind of low. Shiro, who's also very usually low, but not that low, actually. And then you can still be an elite op or a good op or whatever. I feel like I haven't seen Shiro play in years, by the way. Doesn't have that many land stats for this year either, so we need to figure that out. But m0NESY is somebody who, if I could impose a bit of my own greedy will onto m0NESY's playstyle, I would suggest that a kid like this plays a bit more like Simple, a bit more like the Nico, a bit more like the Zywoo, as opposed to the Brokey or the Shiro. And I just want to point that out, that these are all great players, right? Not that one style is the best, but I think m0NESY, he might have the keys to be to be able to play it's in a touch more aggressively and have way more impact. And I don't want to say m0NESY in his career, because he's still brand new, man. I don't mean like, he's been playing for a year, right? Like, he's just been so good in this year that it's just we treat him like it's year 2, year 3. You know how we talk about Masuda like he's a rookie in year 3? We talk about m0NESY like he's a vet in year 1. That's who he's getting compared to right now. And it's fair, because right now m0NESY is one of the best Dust 2 players. He's like top 2 op, I think. Maybe top 3 overall. I think they might do the Alexi bait here. They do. Look at this. Alexi, gone but not forgotten. And it works. I remember it works. It works. He said, keep going, keep going. Yeah, there it is. And they even trick Spinks. That's how you know it's legit tactic. You know how long it takes to get Spinks to peak these days? Man, this guy's taking longer and longer every round. But still, his timings are really good. Like, usually when Spinks is taking too long to peak, he still comes at 1 second later, and it's still in time, and it's still good. But it's not perfect. He's still got some stuff to figure out, I think. But anyways, this one's about m0NESY. So, of course, if you didn't understand what we just watched in the 5 minutes of m0NESY jumping up and down, it was that by him jumping up and down in the door, his teammate, it looks like somebody is jump spotting across. Nice shot, m0NESY. So we're here to watch some fast stuff, and a little bit concerned in this demo that, like, there's not, like, that much to watch for, so we'll see. I know he's great at the map. You can passively watch and learn some of the supporting flashbangs. When he goes to long control, okay, what you can watch without me talking about it is... I should start doing that at the beginning of the video. Maybe I'll do that in an intro. I'll do it in an intro. I'm talking to myself at the end of the video about what I'm going to say in the intro. I'll explain everything that I'm saying now. Okay. So he was supporting long this round. He's not the one crossing pit. And so there'll be two different types of smokes that he's going to throw as well. When we take long control, and we'll also see that different spawns means different pieces of utility. Because if you have the best spawn, you're not flashing, right? Well, we saw m0NESY flashing just now, so you learned a couple of good flashes there. All in long control. Kara is an incredibly strong late round position that you should always try to play. I don't remember if anyone's here. And he seems to be thinking maybe someone's in pit. And it could be a Spinks, but I think Did Spinks die in this round? I can't even remember. No. Okay, he just dies right there. But he was thinking, okay, maybe a lurk. All right, the 2-on-1 with the bomb down. Teammate out here. No nades on m0NESY. He can wait here for the... Let's try to see what... Let's try to think what happens. Okay, let's talk psychology. Oh my god, this is such a nice round from ZywOo. God damn it. We should be watching ZywOo's demo. Oh, this is so good. Okay, this actually is going to be pretty cool to explain. So, ZywOo sits right here, and this is a very... I'm saying, this is... I was casting this, and I said that this play was dripping with intelligence from ZywOo. That's what I said on the cast. Look at the spot that he's sitting in. This is a place that, you know, I mean, this is only something only ZywOo can do. So sometimes you're underneath the window. Sometimes you're behind big box, right? These are two very specific positions with two very specific advantages of this area that ZywOo's in. ZywOo is specifically right here. And the reason that ZywOo is specifically right here is so that Hunter cannot clear him. So this box is blocking, this double stack is blocking Hunter's vision from the tunnels. And ZywOo is going to be sitting here. So that means that unless m0NESY goes window, okay? If he goes window, he sees ZywOo full view, and that's why people don't stand here. But unless m0NESY goes window, Hunter will not know where ZywOo is. So when Hunter turns the corner, m0NESY is waiting for this. No flash. He's clearing the side of big box. This is an important position so that he can tell m0NESY this is open and fine. He is seeing for a peek here in the back of K-sharp. Then he will come out and start clearing some of the normal positions, just sitting on default, up on by the window, again, over here behind the big box, that kind of thing. And as we're going to see, there is no information to give on where ZywOo is because of a specific spot. Again, his weakness is window, but he's doing a gamble by standing here and opening up the window, because if it is the case that the two CTs either both come tunnels or one comes tunnel and one comes door, he will have a good advantage in both fights. So, door smoked. I'm going to turn off the X-ray here. Hunter approaches. He can't tell m0NESY where he is. m0NESY starts clearing angles for Hunter. As we can see, he sees nothing big box. They're very, very confused. And the ZywOo instantly takes out m0NESY, a shoulder showing. And they just took so long to the point that m0NESY in the door had to be the one to try to attack first in that 2v1. And that is just perfect for ZywOo. So, yeah, that was really disgusting. The fact that he wasn't looking for an early fight there, and the way he kind of... Again, he played a gamble in a way you would just not think of normally. You just wouldn't think of that. How are you supposed to think of that? But this is about m0NESY, man. It's not about ZywOo. Off to the op again. Third spawn, so he can be throwing flashes for A. Drops his smoke, has two flashes in hand. So we're going to see the same flashes again probably here. Alright, so I hope that makes sense. And we might see him throw different pieces of utility again, different spawns in future rounds. Just a note. The supporting flashes so you can cross. Basically, and you're flashing behind your teammates so they don't have to turn, of course. In fact, sometimes if you call a flash that's landing behind someone, you actually don't want to call that flash. Does that sound messed up? Sometimes you don't. Because if you just say it in a very hectic moment, then they might turn because you said you're flashing. So you might actually get them to turn into the flash. You got to use your discretion. Counter-Strike isn't perfect, so that's something. Okay, B is a problem here. It looks like. B spawn as well. But it's also... m0NESY doesn't normally start B. He's not going to start B, I'm going to guess. He's going to try to pick off mid somehow, so... We'll see. Cross behind. He always goes for the boost pick first. Every single... No matter what, even if he's aiming... starting from farther back. Because it is the first angle coming in from the left side, but... Just to note, he's very good at that pre-aim. There was even a round in another match where m0NESY... He was able to pre-aim ZywOo on like a very sliver angle through the mid doors from the T side, and that's when you knew that. That's when you knew that he was the GOAT. He's not the GOAT, obviously. I'm just kidding, but that's when you knew. That's when you knew. Plus 600k. I like that m0NESY spam is plus 600k or minus 600k, depending on if he hits the shot or not. Another angle I love. You know I love this angle. Oh, he's in front of the lurk smoke. Okay, so lurk smoke, this oftentimes means that, well, okay, this doesn't always mean this, but a little bit earlier in the round, this can very often mean that there is somebody here throwing a setup smoke or leaving entirely. So you can get into a spot where you can catch someone. This is such a good position for the op to be in. It's also very, very possible to escape. This looks like a position that's not very possible to escape. All right, we see 3 targets coming his way. I don't remember what happens here, but now that we have m0NESY, he's breached this position in front of the smoke. He was not smoke blind for a second. Call that safe. Now it's also, guess what? A smoke screen to escape when he takes a shot. I'm just guessing he hits this and it is able to. Not exactly impossible to trade with the amount of people coming in, but there is a world where depending on how they approach, m0NESY can find an angle to get a kill and leave. But what I would bet on before watching this is that he gets a kill. I don't know if he would live, but I think it's possible, actually. It just depends on the arrangement of the T's. And it's also predicated on the fact that they don't know that he's here, right? They just threw the setup smoke. So he has that small advantage. Let's see how it plays. Oh, there it is. Another, see that? Oh, and he gets away. He gets away, man. This slippery man, m0NESY. And he just misses. Okay, now I remember this round. He just misses, dude. You can't just miss, man. What the hell? He missed the easy one. So what happened right there? I called this a setup smoke and a lurk smoke. So it's not a setup smoke, technically speaking. This is the setup smoke on Cat. And you use this because you even line up grenades behind it, or you line up a Molotov that lands on Goose. So this part of the exec on Cat is called the setup smoke. I'm calling this a setup smoke for a similar reason. Like you might use this to do setup, but it has an extra piece of value. So does this. You can throw this alone. You can throw this alone. And when you do that is if you're going to lurk out the left side, jump up on the box on the right side, and also you can use this to cross to this side and not allow the T's to now look at the tunnels. If they had vision on it before, you have to maybe get them to use a little bit more utility right before your exec. Another little added bonus, something to think about always with these loose smokes in the beginning of the rounds. And as we could see there, it was supposed to provide a layer of protection to the players who were going to set up for an exec, even though the smoke itself doesn't necessarily help with that. So it's just the first piece of the puzzle. That's what m0NESY was trying to call out. And what he got away with. And then they end up losing anyways, okay? Oh, so here's a second spawn nades. He was mollying blue bin. Or, oh, maybe he wasn't. I don't know what just happened. If he was going to molly blue bin and then they called it clear, or if he was mollying the door the whole time. But, yeah, either we don't know. We'll never know. We'll literally never know. See how he deals with this pressure. He's got good support flashes here from ZywOo. What? Wait, what? I didn't expect that. That's not what I expected. And he knows someone's in CT. Okay, Apex. They even flash him. Apex thought he was being sneaky. He's the least sneaky pro player, actually, of all times. Apex. Everybody knows where Apex is at all times, man. This guy has, like, bags of metal in his shoes. When he runs around, he lets the whole city block know. I made a tweet. It was like, it was a meme about Apex. Apex's face when Zonic asks him to walk for more than 3 seconds. And then it's the kid who kind of looks like Rush, where he gets the vein in his head. Because you know he wants to run so bad. Ooh. So I was just piecing him m0NESY this whole demo, man. ZywOo's back, by the way. Always, for some reason, ZywOo takes half a year to warm up, and then he gets hot. What's the opposite of a bear? ZywOo. It's an important game that m0NESY plays here. It's small. It's not going to add that much, but just crossing that door and not letting your opponent never let your opponent know your next move, right? That's the whole deal. So And that's obviously a joke. Sometimes, again, I talked about this before. I don't want to contradict myself, even though people haven't watched that video. I just want to say, sometimes you don't care if your opponent knows your next move. It's not always about deception, but in this circumstance, it can help. It can help. And that's crossing the door. When you cross the door, you cross back. It's a really important rotation. This is the hardest part of the map for the CT side, by far. If any of your friends who play B go, I play the hardest role on DT Dust 2. No, they're gaslighting you. It's a mid B player, easily by far. The fact that late into the round with no utility, you have to figure out how to help both your A players and your B players and deal with these doors and definitely fight people at all times and op mid and avoid Zywoo and kill him sometimes and then come back to A. There's no harder role. Back in the day, you guys won't believe this if you're new, but the guy I used to say is the best at this was Zippix. I know you guys think Zippix is washed because he is, but back in 2018, man, that was the mid B player of all time. That's the guy who I would say watch the Zippix demo, Astralis 2018 Dust 2, if you want to know how to play mid B on Dust 2. Wasn't that long ago, man. It really wasn't. You could still do it. Ouch. What is this op? Op of 2014. Some people know skin history. I have no idea. I love that, though. This is a very old school setup here on Cat, but it's totally reasonable, especially given the 4v5. And they don't see anything right now. They also didn't have time to clear mid, which I think they really wanted to do. Because if you clear mid and they see lower, they see top mid, then they know they don't have to like watch this for like a few seconds. But right now, it looks like it's a fake. It feels like there's one player long on a fake. Yes, there is. And there's a bomb going on mid. So it's actually possible for... No, m0NESY can't save this now. It's one in CT. Oh, yeah. He gets shoved out. He just needed his teammates to get a kill or something, but... First spawn out with the flash to support. Or actually, no flash to support, actually. He just takes the best CT spawn. So remember this, okay? If you have the leftmost spawn in CT, you will beat the T out long every time. 10 times out of 10. They will never get there before you. It's I think it's the most important thing that you can remember spawn-wise on any map. That if you have the leftmost spawn in CT on Dust 2, you will beat the T to the corner every time. And that means that if you're a T and you feel like you're all the way at the bottom of your ramp and your foot is basically in the door of long doors, it doesn't matter. You're not as far as you think. If there's a CT with an op on the left side and everyone's playing spawn these days, they will beat you to that corner. You can try to get out, man. You can ask for flashes, but you could still die. And you cannot blame the fact that you didn't know the CTs could be that fast. We can't be hearing that in 2022. It's this game. Dust 2 is the most played map in gaming history. We knew this. All right, let's do the pop-up cover. Temporary cover meta here on Cat. One of the most important ways that oppers defend against long hits in 2021, 2022, okay, in the last couple of years. Simple started doing this the most, I would say. I don't know if it came from him, but I think it did. You're dropping the smoke against the basket here. And with this, as you can see where m0NESY was, you can jump up and have a one-way over the side here. And you also have... It's not about one-ways, though, is the thing. It's mostly just about having one angle to fight, okay? Because if you fight from here, then at least the guy on long or the guy who's up on car, they can't see you to help trade. And then you have a way to go back and fight into CT, fight across like that. And if anybody else swings, you have a way to fall back. It's just a way to have cover. Very important. And remember, you think about it like this. Well, launders, how do I time my smoke? It only lasts for 15 seconds. all you have to remember is that you and the enemy team have the same amount of smokes. You haven't been counting smokes the whole time. If it's 30 seconds and they drop 2 smokes on long, it's really unlikely that they're going to have 2 more smokes and then cross afterwards. So that's when you can feel like you can drop your smoke. Your smoke lasts exactly as long as theirs does, and you have the advantage of throwing yours after theirs lands. So that's how you know when you can use this piece of cover, and that's the value of having your op here. Because otherwise, the op stands here, the molly comes down, the smoke comes down, and there's no counterplay. Just a player in CT spawn, a one-way sight player with a rifle, and whoever else is left sitting there holding their dick. And it feels really intimidating to know that that smoke's up and that they have to continue crossing. And so that's why you can see them actually try to wait this out and come in. They see that molly coming their way, and they even had to wait their own smokes out because of that. It's very strong. Like Ox. m0NESY is very careful about when he scopes. You notice that about him. He doesn't leave clues for free, especially if he can scope early. Sometimes he'll fall out of a situation, scope, walk back in. And that's very smart. I mean, one flicker of a scope can be information that changes the entire round. I mean, it can... I don't want to be melodramatic, and I also don't know the difference between regular dramatic and mellow, but this can really win or lose a tournament. Okay, no, that was too... It can win or lose the round. And sometimes the round is the one that wins the game. And sometimes that game is the grand finals of a major. Not, that didn't happen then, but... Nice little op movie at the end. Some great shots here from m0NESY. The game was okay. It was well, hold on, let me play out the round. Owned. I shot. That was a decent half from m0NESY, but this was his strongest Dust 2 rating overall. Had a really good T side. m0NESY, he did the most in this whole tournament. He got his first MVP. Congratulations to our rookie. Of course, everybody's been happy to have m0NESY come into the scene. I mean, it's been an honor to be able. It's been a blessing, not an honor. It's been kind of it's just been great, right? To watch great players play and to watch new talents rise up. And he seems like a really chill kid at events and everything like that. Super sociable, super friendly, good in interviews. What's not to love? He's doing a lot for everybody. So I think, and great to have him on G2 as well. I think he's in good hands. I think G2 could obviously... Everybody wants more from G2. That's fair too, but overall, who's not watching? It's a great team to watch. It's fun to watch. Okay, that's that. Hope you enjoyed it. Congrats again to m0NESY. MVP of the Blast Fall Groups.